So yeah, I used to argue that a chair is more intelligent than most humans because a chair is able to communicate by its very form. And what a chair communicates is, I'm for sitting on, you can sit on me if you like, kind of thing. So what's that called in spirituality? That's called intelligent design, kind of thing. And the word. In the beginning was the word, and the word was verb. In the beginning was the word, and the word was God, and the word was with God. In the beginning was the voice, and the voice called God, and God came into being. God came inside the creation. So these myths with words in the creation story, which is the Genesis story, which is the gene cis story. Cis, where we get sister. So just today I realized that generation is actually gene ration. Generational is gene rational. Generate is gene. Yeah, anyway, see what I mean? So words in the English language, and when was the English language invented? Who invented it? How many hundreds of years ago might that have been? Kind of thing. How were all those words given meanings in the way they were? What's the relationship with the French language and the Italian language and the Latin language? The Roman language? What language did the Romans actually speak? Is that going to be Latin? Latinos? All these kind of things. What I'm getting to there, and the reference to the chair, the chair didn't have to be invented necessarily. Yeah, there were stones, big rocks, fallen tree trunks that were able to communicate by their very design, come and sit on me, kind of thing. So the version of the Genesis story that we have these days speaks of a God that is pre-existent, and speaks of a serpent that is pre-existent, and speaks of a serpent that can speak, being pre-existent. There is nothing in the Genesis story which talks of the creation of the serpent or why the serpent speaks. And the curiosity for me there is, who came up with the Genesis story, and what were the earlier versions of that story with the snake? So we're led to believe that it's a Hebrew or a Jewish or a Judaic story. But certainly we are given to understand and accept that it's the first story in the Old Testament of the Bible. Yeah, I've gone and had a look at this stuff. And the oldest physical copy of a Bible that I could find to hold in my hand was like 1700s. And the wording that was in that was the same English as the wording that I find on the internet. So why I went looking for an older copy was to see if older copies had somewhat of a different spelling, different spell, different magic, different encoding than the modern version. The idea that it's been altered over time. But no, this 1700 and something copy that I looked at in a Wigtown bookshop had the very same spellings, kind of thing. And it certainly gave no explanation of anything. So there's an esoteric understanding of the Garden of Eden story that I don't know of any explanations. I don't know of the esoteric version of what we're given exoterically in the written word of the Bible, of the Old Testament. But I surmise that there must be an esoteric version, which presumably the secret societies are given the decryption of the necromancy, the necromancy, the necromancy. And presumably it says something about why it's called the Adam's apple in the neck that the Romans see, kind of thing. So to generate, to generate the ratio between the two frontal lobes of the brain, where the reasoning happens between the temples in Golgotha, Golgotha being the hill of the skull, being the knowl or hill of the skull, the knowl of the skull, Golgotha, the knowl of the skull in which we store the knowledge, in the cellars, in the tabernacle. So that's it for now. Let's see where we go from there.